Introduction and overview. Story structure and storytelling. Well, I've talked a lot about story structure and storytelling conceptually, and thrown in a couple little examples. But you'd be surprised, or maybe you wouldn't. If you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, you wouldn't be surprised that many people in class, no matter how much I talk about storytelling is the passion, is storytelling is when you're expressing yourself, storytelling is all the symbols and the subject matter you use, structure is the underlying mechanics and nuts and bolts. There are a lot of people that I used to go through a whole 2-day class, and they didn't know the difference between story structure and storytelling because, to me, I'm using symbols, but my audience reception is they just don't get the symbol I'm using. When I talk about passion, they think of something else. When I talk about mechanics, they think of something else. So we have a handy video clip. This video clip will show you an exercise. And the exercise, the fun thing to do, you won't be tested on this later, okay? But we have two versions of the story of Cyrano de Bergerac. We have the original one with Jose Ferrer, the original film version, 1956, I think it was, which stayed pretty close to the original manuscript. But then we have the version that Steve Martin did called Roxanne, which is an updating of it. Now you'll notice in these clips we've cut back and forth between the 1956 version and the 1990-something version that Steve Martin did, back and forth between the two, showing that exactly the same thing is happening, just updated. When exactly the same thing happens, they're structurally identical. And the only thing that's changed is the storytelling. But there's one comparison we do where something is different. Something isn't the exact same thing, it's actually something different happening side by side. It's the same moment in the story, the same subject matter, but they've actually changed something structurally. So in this little short clip, the object is to take a look at it and try and figure out what it is that's changed structurally between the two. And in so doing, you'll get a better idea. Well, then I can see that all of these other clips, they're identical structurally, so I get a sense of what structure is. It's only the storytelling has been changed to protect the innocent. And then you have this one thing where something structurally is different. So let's take a little look at that clip here and see if we can find that item that is different between the two. First we'll get through that, though. Glad they got our sound fixed. For those of you who came in late, the first television they had, he was talking in a whisper, full up sound. So now we have it a little bit better.
Well, why not? If you love her, tell her so.
Tell who what?
Tell Roxanne that you love her.
I love someone.
Yes?
Someone who does not know.
There's someone I think I should get to know better.
His name?
Christian. He works for you. His name's Chris McConnell.
No, I've never lost for words among men, but with any woman, paralyzed, speechless, dumb. I'm one of those stammering idiots who cannot call a woman.
Gotta get a little. It's not that I don't like women, I like women, okay? But I just get a little nervous, that's all.
Would you dare repeat to her the words I gave you day by day? Send to her the letters that I write. Eileen Roxanne shall have no disillusionment.
CD, you write the letter.
No, you do it. You do it.
You know how to say what I feel. You write it. I'll sign it.
You have it. Now improvise. Practice.
Say something. Something wonderful like in your letter.
I love you very much. The night is very extemporaneous.
What?
Letters, that was you. It was your voice that night under the balcony.
Chris didn't write those letters, you did.
Oh, God. I love you. I love you, Charlie.
Okay, anybody see where the structural difference was?
Somebody about dying.
Who was the one who suggested writing the letter?
Cyrano.
Originally, it was the Cyrano one. In the Roxanne version, it's the Chris character. Okay? Chris, Christian, they're the same character. So Chris, in the second one, is the one who suggested he's the one who caused the problem. And because of that, it has to have a different ending. Of course, in the Cyrano one, it's kind of a tragic ending for Cyrano. But in this one, Charlie gets the girl. He gets the girl because it wasn't his fault. Okay? He just tried to do the right thing by his friend. Okay? So you can see that if you actually have something that changes structurally, it's going to have an impact later on. It has to, because if you have the same kind of ending, it wouldn't be quite the same. Okay? It wouldn't work, because structurally it must be something else to have that kind of an ending. That's how structure works, that it dictates what must happen, what must come later, based on what's come first. A slap followed by a scream is different than a scream followed by a slap. Okay? The order in which things occur is going to change the meaning. You can learn that from any type of film or video editing. You know, change the order. If you ever sat around with index cards, moving them around, you know, if you have some that have small enough ideas, they can be moved without having to do massive rewrites, but you're just changing a couple things around, it changes quite a bit of meaning. Okay? So in this case, everything was identical structurally, had the same characters, the same problems, the same issues, the same difficulties that they ran into because of what was going on, and it was just updated to modern times. But that one element in there, who wrote the letter, that's the different structurally. So I hope that gives a better idea. When we're talking structure here, all day today is structure, structure, structure. That's all we're talking. The thing that you're going to want to use the least if you have a great intuitive sense of writing, okay, because you won't need it. But if you get stuck, this is where you fix it, is with structure.